Happy Monday, everybody. It's the Prep Queen, Ariel Epstein. I'm going on till 6 p.m. Eastern Time-ish. We've got a lot of Major League Baseball to talk about today, a lot of things in the headlines. Sorry if I'm a little echoey. I didn't realize how echoey this room is. Damn. I am house-sitting my parents' house. Just fed the dogs, so hopefully they leave me alone for the rest of the show. I have to water my mom's plants. There's so many things in a house. Like in an apartment, so easy. Anyway, we've got Major League Baseball. We've got some NFL news to talk about as well. Major League Baseball also said some weird things today that I'm not for. Major League Baseball picks. And of course, Mid-Major Matt here on a Monday. We're going to talk all things Major League Baseball props. Very excited for his take on today's slate because we didn't get along for any of it. Matt and I did not agree for any of our MLB props. There wasn't that much good stuff for pitchers either, which kind of annoyed me. Happy Monday, Joseph Rodriguez. And also today, Shawn Michael already came at me saying to not even try posting about my dog because his dog's cuter. Like, I hate when people have this whole thing that like their dog's cuter. Like every dog's cute, guys. Let's stop fighting over it. We all agree that our dogs are cute. Major League Baseball, I guess we could start with, you know what? Let's talk a little NFL first. And Matt's also going to talk about college football and week 0, just a little preview, and then we'll talk more on Friday about week 0. This cracked me up today. The Cleveland Browns said that Joe Flacco is going to open up the season. Duh. It's amazing that anyone even thought this was a story because obviously it was going to be Joe Flacco. No surprise at all. And I was taking a look at the odds because week 1, they do end up facing the Cincinnati Bengals. So the week 1 odds, here they are. Week 1, Bengals, Browns. You've got the Browns at plus 5.5 at home against Cincinnati, total 45.5. What's more interesting is when Joe Flacco loses steam around week 4 or 5 and what happens. The Ravens and the Browns are going to face each other in week 2. So that's duh. Just everything about this. Joe Flacco is the most experience against the AFC North. Joe Flacco is a somewhat reliable pocket passing quarterback. You know he's a good leader. You know there won't be drama. You're going to have him and it's really QB3 that's the question. Like, who are the Browns going to keep as QB3? Because it's Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. Now Sanders is hurt. But the number 2 is Kenny Pickett, who's also a little bit banged up. He's questionable right now on the depth chart with a hamstring injury. Sure, he has some experience in the AFC North, but it's really, it was never even a doubt. Joe Flacco was starting the season for the Cleveland Browns. So are they going to cut Dylan Gabriel because they want the storylines of Shedeur Sanders? Schefter saying they keep 4. That's insane. That team is so bad, they can't afford to keep 4 quarterbacks. They need another position to have more depth at than quarterback. God, this is just so stupid. So anyway, Joe Flacco is going to be the starting quarterback for the Browns week 1, and it's Browns-Bengals, Browns getting 5.5. And then in week 2 is when they get to face the Ravens in Baltimore. So if you want storylines, then you're going to get Joe Flacco in Baltimore. Anyway, you guys know I'm a Ravens fan, so I'm sure Baltimore will do a whole thing for him. Okay, so the other thing that stood out to me today was the MLB expansion. So if MLB expands, Rob Manfred, the commissioner of MLB, says the league could also undergo realignment that would likely do away with the traditional AL and NL current 6-division format. If we expand, it provides us with an opportunity to geographically realign, the commissioner said. My other issue with this, and let me get to the expansion teams. Obviously there was a reason that the divisions and conferences and leagues all across sports were created. And now we're just destroying them through college football. We destroyed conferences in Major League Baseball. Why wait till expansion? You could do it next year since since we got rid of the interleague play, essentially, what's been the point anyway? We play everybody. The only thing that I like about divisions is divisions, you know your team's best within the division. So it creates a lot more rivalries that way. It creates like, oh, now they're going to play each other again. So obviously it makes sense because you do want your divisions to be able to know each other and create some rivalry. But Yankees and Astros were in the same division and there was a rivalry there. What else can we say? I don't know. Like, I'm just like an old fogey and I don't like change. But I know with Major League Baseball, like right now, they say the expansion team would be Charlotte, Nashville. What else? I know Charlotte and Nashville were some of them. But, and like obviously I'm trying to look at Jim Bowden's proposed realignment. And you make it like mid-Atlantic, north, east, and southeast. Like, what are we trying to be? College football? Vegas, Portland. Oh, gosh. I don't know. Yeah, Vegas is like the Athletics, though, so it's the same thing. It's not really like an expansion team. They just relocated. What do you guys think in the chat? I just think this is so stupid. What's the point in making the headache? It's all been good. Like, baseball's been fine. I don't understand the headache of getting rid of divisions, getting rid of leagues, and just making it regional. In college, regionalizing things makes more sense because in college, they don't have necessarily, the smaller schools have as much money. Major League Baseball, traveling is not the problem. This whole thing is just so dumb. And I'm going to have a cough attack now. I'm still coughing. It's been a month. It's enough already. He's here. So I'm going to bring in Mid-Major Matt because I do want to get his thoughts on the conference and the MLB thing. What are your thoughts on it?
Everything Rob Manfred does is stupid, and he is the worst commissioner of all the sports. And that's pretty tough because they're all pretty bad commissioners for the most part. But as somebody in the chat said, why wait? We could just do some realignment now. And so, it's just kind of interesting to see some of these places. And it's like, I don't know. I don't think we need realignment in Major League Baseball, but changing all this stuff is just so unnecessary. And Rob Manfred continues to be the worst.
And that's what I don't understand, though. It doesn't make any sense. Baseball is fine. Like, it's not as if we're struggling. And even now, like college football doing all of this, it's money, it's TV. I don't understand Major League Baseball trying to do this whole realignment thing. It's been this way for years. And honestly, I'm still annoyed that we don't have interleague play and that we've completely taken the fun out of interleague play. Like, the point was, you don't know these teams well. So now it's going to be more interesting as opposed to what you always did was play all these same teams. Like, I don't like the way that we're doing this by making this a very college football-esque format.
See, I like playing everybody on my schedule. I do. I just think that, every 2 years you get a chance to see somebody you may not normally see. So I was a fan of that when they went to that. But for the most part, I think everything Manfred touches, he ruins. So therefore, this would just be another thing. Charlotte's a great city. I think Charlotte's an awesome city. I don't know if it necessarily deserves a Major League Baseball team. Some of the other places, maybe.
I don't even
like
know
Nashville.
where they would put a baseball stadium in Charlotte.
Yeah. I don't know either necessarily, but they'll find a place, unfortunately, and then it won't fit necessarily. But like Charlotte's a great city and it's a great sports town. But like I feel like everybody, like, what's his name? Silver was talking about expansion. Like, I don't know if the NBA needs expansion because we don't need more cities who have basketball teams that don't care about the regular season.
That's a fair point. Well, I know that one thing that your Phillies would like to expand is their starting rotation because this is no bueno for your Phillies. Zach Wheeler underwent successful thrombosis procedure to remove the blood clot in his right upper extremity this morning. Your Phillies are still the second shortest odds to win the World Series, by the way. So it's kind of amazing to me that your ace is out and the books didn't move a line.
It's sad. It's very sad. But to me, none of this matters because it's all in the Phillies lineup. the Phillies lineup can be one of the best in baseball, but the problem is that when they get cold, everybody gets cold. Like Nick Castellanos can't hit anything. He had a good game yesterday, and you notice the difference. The Phillies scored a bunch of runs against the Nats. But like, to me, none of this matters. The regular season does not matter, because if Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Castellanos, Real Muto, like if all those guys go cold, it doesn't matter who's pitching. You know, you could have vintage Randy Johnson and Pedro Martinez pitching. You'll still lose 2-1 or 1-0. You know, they got shut down by all the mediocre Mets pitchers last year. So like it's bad for the rotation and everything, but like none of this matters if the lineup doesn't hit like it's capable of hitting.
That's fair, but not having your ace is ginormous, especially because if you were to ask most people in baseball, who would your number one game one starter be in a World Series? A lot of people want Zach Wheeler to be it.
But Christopher Sanchez has been really good this year. Like really
Don't
good.
give me Christopher Sanchez is your ace. Get out of here.
I'm just saying, look at Christopher Sanchez's numbers. He's been fantastic this year. You know, he can be a game one starter. Luzardo can be a game two starter, but he also can be a game 7 starter or a game 12 starter.
That rotation's winning you a World Series.
I mean, look, you only need 4 pitchers. And I'm an Aaron Nola hater. Everybody who follows me knows I call him the fake ace. He's terrible. I despise him. But like, if he somehow gets better, they could have a decent rotation. Their bullpen is good enough in spots. You know, the back end with Kerkering and Duran. I think they're good enough. Like, look, I'm worried. I'm not betting on them to win the World Series, but I think they can put something together. Look, maybe Andrew Painter comes up in August, our number one pitching prospect, and becomes David Price when David Price came out of the bullpen for, what was it, the Dodgers or the Rays? Who did he come out of the bullpen for? Or was it the Red Sox that he came out of the pen for?
I think Dodgers.
Whoever it was, he was the young hotshot pitcher, and he was a guy who was great out of the bullpen and eventually became a starter. Maybe Andrew Painter can be that. So look, I got to be optimistic somehow, but it was a huge hit. I'm not going to deny that.
I'm very glad that I didn't put money down on the Phillies to win the World Series when they were 10-1 now, because that would have been extremely disappointing. I can't believe the Padres are still sitting there at 12-1, but hey, the books clearly know something. And I have a feeling that if I put money on the Padres, it wouldn't work out.
The problem is, why do we believe in the Brewers? Like, I feel like the Brewers have been in this situation hundreds of times before, and they lose in the first round. Like, nobody on this graphic right here gives me confidence. You know, the Dodgers have 17 pitchers, but we know Glasnow can get hurt. We know Blake Snell can get hurt. We know Kershaw is terrible in the postseason. Like nobody here gives me any sort of confidence. Maybe Toronto. Like, maybe this is Toronto's year. They've got a good rotation. They've got the hitters. I don't love their bullpen. Jeff Hoffman, what was it, like a couple of outings ago, had 5 walks, and I don't even know how a closer could have 5 walks. Maybe this is Toronto's year.
I had them last year to win the American League, and that was a disappointment. So, I mean, good for them if they find a way. It's going to be Blue Jays and Padres World Series, and it's going to be that Ariel was 1 year too late. And you could go back to MLB. I have the clips from MLB Network last year. I went on with Matty Viscursion, and I gave out my futures, and I said Toronto to win the AL and the Padres to win the NL. That's going to happen now this year. It always happens, Matt. You're 1 year off.
So San Diego's lineup, I don't think is good enough. And plus, like, their starting rotation's not great either. I mean, Dylan Cease is just not, he hasn't been very good. Yu Darvish is hit or miss. So like, as I said, you could give me the positives and negatives for everyone on this graphic, and I can make a case that at their best, they could win the World Series, and at their worst, by the way, who's betting on the Guardians? Like, the Guardians definitely are not going to make the World Series.
Well, they're 100-1. That's pretty much unrealistic odds.
They shouldn't really even be listed there, really.
That's 100-1. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, today, what are we betting? So you are looking at the Toronto Blue Jays today, and their starter, Kevin Gausman, under 2.5 earned runs for Gausman. Toronto is in Pittsburgh tonight. Paul Skeens is pitching. And the only way to bet the Pirates when Paul Skeens is on the mound is their team total under. So is this like a Paul Skeens on the mound, we don't score for him kind of thing?
No, this is just anytime I see the Pirates with 2.5 runs, I'm taking the under here. Like I don't love their offense. I think the Pirates offense is just very inconsistent. If you look at what they've done overall, even against lefties too, like they have not been good. 8 of the last 10 righties have gone under this against the Pirates. Now, my one concern is the juice went down. Like it was minus 160 and then I wasn't going to take it. And then now it's minus 145. And I think it's gone back up a little bit, which maybe is good. But it's just a Pirates offense fade. That's all. Gossman's been pretty good on the road as of late. And so I'll take under 2.5 runs here.
I don't trust the Pirates to score at all. I just have this whole thing with the entire Toronto Blue Jays starting rotation that I only take them at home. All of them. Bassett, Gossman, Barrios, they all only do better at home.
Yeah. But it's Pirates and the Pirates offense is bad.
With Paul Skeens pitching.
And Paul Skeens is pitching, right? I mean,
we don't score for Paul Skeens.
This will be the ultimate test for Toronto's contact tonight. I mean, look, how crazy is it when we woke up this morning? Paul Skeens' number was 6.5, heavily juiced to the under. Nobody else would that ever be the case where his juice would be to the under, and it made sense. I just couldn't pull the trigger on it.
Wait, I saw this morning that Skeens was minus 164 under 6.5, and I was like, damn it, I wanted that under 6.5.
Well, yeah, but I mean, look, we've seen aces do really well against Toronto. So it's not a guarantee, but like this is the ultimate test as to whether or not the contact of Toronto. You know, look, I got lucky on DeGrom on Friday. We had the argument on Friday about DeGrom, and it was 5.5, and he finished with 5 and only went 5 innings. So like, we'll see what Skeens can do, but this is truly the test for him.
It's also a test for you because you're taking an ace at home with an under 7.5 Ks. Spencer Strider is on the mound for Atlanta. They're hosting the Chicago White Sox. You said, you don't even agree with me on Strider? I said, no, I can't fade Spencer Strider at home. How come you're so crazy to do it?
Well, I mean, it's a small bet, but like, look, I've told you that the White Sox are a sneaky under team this year. 55 unders, 36 overs, 4.7 strikeouts per game average for the White Sox. Like, people can't name the guys in their lineup. By the way, Montgomery, he's a strikeout guy. He's going to probably strike out at least once tonight. But like, if you look at Strider at home, he had 6 against Milwaukee. He had 7 against the Giants. He had 6 against the Orioles. He had 4 against the Phillies. Like, Strider's stuff is on, and I'm going to lose this bet by $1 million. But if Strider's stuff is off, he just doesn't get enough strikeouts. And I think that's part of the whole post-Tommy John thing. So I took a shot that he's not going to be on tonight, and he's going to go under this.
Jamie 34 said he likes Strider under out.
I mean, look, 4 2/3, 5 and 5 his last 4 starts, and that's against some weak lineups too. The Mets and the Brewers are not, but like the Royals, he only went 5 in KC, and he went 5 against the Giants. Like it's possible. Problem is when he's on, he's going 6 2/3, which happened in the stretch before that. So it's all about whether or not you think he's going to be on tonight. If he's on, I'm losing this bet. He's going to get 10 strikeouts tonight. But if he's off, he might only have 4 tonight.
Yeah, he could be like a 4 or 5 guy if he's off of his game. And welcome, by the way, Jamar the Pickleball King. Welcome. First time watching and subscriber. We love to hear that. And Mark Calusi, I don't know how you were kind of at the Jays. Like, how are you kind of at a game? Were you there or were you not? Like, are you ever kind of at a game, Matt?
I mean, it depends on what your mental state is. Maybe he was there and he was under the influence. I don't know.
Everyone else loving the Strider fade too. Strider under 17.5 outs. Strider over 4.5 hits. Everyone's looking to fade Spencer Strider today. I'm not crazy enough to do it.
He's just so wildly inconsistent. I mean, if the old Strider shows up, he's going to go 7 scoreless with 13 strikeouts. But if the Strider of this year shows up, he's going 5 innings, giving up 3 runs and 6 hits with about 5 strikeouts.
So if Matt was to go to MLB Network today and say to the MLB Network people, we are taking the Rockies lefty Kyle Freeland over 3.5 strikeouts against the Los Angeles Dodgers, they would look at him like he's insane. But I've done it many times before because I've gotten that same look where people say, are you insane? But everyone has to realize strikeouts and the end result of a game aren't correlated. Kyle Freeland just always screws me over. Like, it always looks like an enticing 3.5 with Kyle Freeland, even at home. It always looks enticing. And then I end up losing with like 3 or something. Like, I get it though against the Dodgers. They've been sneakily striking out.
So this is the stat of the evening. And for anybody who wants to go against this is the stat. Freeland has gone over 3.5 strikeouts in 7 straight starts against the Dodgers in Coors Field. And we know nobody goes and gets a lot of strikeouts in Coors Field, certainly in that pitching staff. But like the numbers say he does really well. And if you look, it's so ironic because you would think that the Dodgers would have tremendous numbers against Kyle Freeland in his career. But if you look at the batter versus pitcher, Mookie Betts is hitting 189. Freddie Freeman is hitting 206. A couple of other, like those are 2 huge hitters in their lineup that are not doing well against them. So look, I don't love it. It's a sprinkle bet because it's plus 115, but the numbers say 7 straight over 3.5 at Coors Field against the Dodgers. I took a shot on it.
I have a few things like that today as well, where I was like, listen, it's this or nothing, but I am a little nervous. Like the trends tell you, you always get nervous about trends dying. Like today I said Freddie Peralta. He hasn't done well at Wrigley Field in his career. And then he goes 6 innings of 1 hit ball with 6 Ks today. Like you never want to be on the wrong end of the trend. And I always say unders against the Cubs are the way, especially at Ks. But you had a feeling today that Peralta pitches well in the day. Like there are just certain times where I get so nervous, Matt. And what are your thoughts when people are like, you're like, oh, this is a great trend. Should I keep riding it or is it too late?
I mean, that's why I made this a sprinkle bet. Like it's not one of my better ones. And for people who follow me, like I'm a small time, since I bet so many props on a given day, I don't really expose myself a ton for units. So it was a sprinkle bet, but like, yeah, I just, Peralta's had great numbers against the Cubs in his career. The team's hitting 165 against him entering today. I mean,
but he doesn't go deep at Wrigley.
He doesn't, but I'm just saying, like, if I was to base anything, I would play more to the fact that he has great numbers against this lineup than anything. But, like, I get why you would want to fade him because road Peralta is usually not as reliable as home Peralta, and it's a doubleheader, and so we don't know, weird things happen in doubleheaders and stuff like that, so I get it. Yeah, I'm playing the trend. If it continues, it's great. If it doesn't, I lost, a little bit on this bet. And then I
love the trend. I had no idea that it was 7 straight against the Dodgers at Coors. Like that's a great trend to know. I'm going to cut that for social.
He could give up 7 runs today and not make it out of the first and it loses. But, look, he's a guy sometimes that they love to let go a little longer, even when he's getting beaten up. He's like Patrick Corbin in that sense. Patrick Corbin
he's basically their ace. So you've got to let him go so that you could save your bullpen for all the other schlubs that are on the team.
And this is the start of a 4-game series with the Dodgers, which is not going to go very well.
At least they start off strong. We've got another game late night, 9:38 p.m. Eastern, Reds, Angels. Victor Mederos is up against Brady Singer so Mederos, for anyone that doesn't know, is a starter for the Los Angeles Angels. You were taking his under 2.5 earned runs. Why are you fading the Reds lineup?
Yeah, it's one of these things. He's got a weird arm angle when he throws, and he's one of these guys that they're going to try and make a starter. He went 4 innings against the Dodgers and didn't pitch terribly. He did throw 72 pitches in that game, so I'm kind of expecting him to go 5. This is kind of like when I took, and it was Saturday, I think, I took the under 2.5 earned runs allowed for Braxton Ashcraft for the Pirates because he's a guy they're transitioning from reliever to starter. And so I just think I don't know if he's going to be around long enough. He's either going to pitch really well and they're going to get him out after 5 innings, or he's going to be bad and they're going to get him out quickly, which is, an interesting way to handicap this thing. But the Reds, 14 of the last 19 right-handed starting pitchers have gone under 2.5 earned runs allowed against the Reds. It's a road trip. It's a long road trip for the Reds. So I'm going to take a shot with the guy tonight. And see if he's any good. He pitched all right. He only allowed 3 hits in 4 innings to the Dodgers. And if he cut down on the walks, maybe he would have cut down on the earned runs allowed. So we'll see tonight. Look, I didn't love this card. The last play we talk about is probably my favorite play of the night. But when you look at, I'm backing Kyle Freeland and Victor Mederos, like that kind of tells you what we're expecting for tonight.
Yeah, Matt and I texted each other this morning. Matt goes, I hate this card. I said, same. I have one prop that I actually one pitcher prop that I actually bet, and then the other ones I said I kind of like. We didn't agree on anything, but I do agree that the only way to back Zach Gallen is when he's at home. It is the only time that Zach Gallen is reliable. On the road, even in his Cy Young campaign, was when he sucked, and that's why he never even ended up winning it. Zach Gallen is at home against the Cleveland Guardians. It's him versus Gavin Williams. You're willing to lay minus 150. I know this 4.5 for Gallen at home is really low.
Yeah, and for people who don't look at the spreadsheet, which is what everybody should be doing. Like last year, you would never take this bet with the Guardians, because last year the Guardians were a lot more contact based. But if you look at what they've gone through, like Eric Fetty got 5 strikeouts. Like we could take 5 chat people from the YouTube and from the various places watching, like they wouldn't strike out against Eric Fetty. So like you have to kind of pay attention to this sort of thing. Hurston Waldrep had 7 strikeouts. Sean Burke had 7 strikeouts and 3 1/3 a couple of weeks ago. Savali had 6. Clay Holmes had 6. Bradley Blaylock went into Cleveland and had 7 strikeouts. That guy is terrible. So, like, this is a Cleveland team that is free swinging a little bit, and I'm going to try and take advantage of it with a guy that strikes out a lot more batters at home. And so that's why we took a shot here. I think Gallen's gone over this number in all but like 1 start at home this season. So, like, yeah, this is the only way to play it.
4.5 is really low for Zach Gallen at home. No doubt about that. Okay, so we do have college football coming up. Week 0 starts this week. What is your best advice for people, especially because you're mid-major, Matt? You love betting mid-majors. We don't see as many of the big name Power 5 teams this week as we will in week 1.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited for this week 0. I think this week 0 has some potential. The headline game is right at noon. It's Kansas State and Iowa State, and that's being played
in Ireland. I'm having FOMO. Kelly's there.
Well, I mean, you could have gone, clearly.
I was supposed to, but I am broke.
Well, I mean, listen, we all can't have Kelly's money. So, but yeah, like this is a fun game. And I'll tell you this, like this game. So when you play these games overseas, you kind of throw out a lot of things because there's no home field advantage. There's no travel advantage. Both of these teams probably were out there around the same time. So really you're breaking it down to the coaches and the quarterbacks. And that's why I kind of lean to the underdog here. I probably won't get to the window on it, but like whenever you see a situation where, you know, 2 teams are in a weird situation, you know, like if they're traveling to a place far away, you know, you kind of take the intangibles out and you go to the best parts of football, the coaches and the quarterbacks, and they both have great quarterbacks and they both have good coaches. So that'll be a fun game. But like to me, Western Kentucky, Sam Houston State, Stanford and Hawaii, like these games are the ones that you should be paying attention to. We're going to be doing a lot of college football stuff. We're still working on the exact parts of it, but I'll tell you this, a lot of my cards are team total based because I love playing certain teams to score a certain amount of points, whether it's first quarter, first half, or game. And then some of the books have the touchdowns market. That's my favorite market because that's where you can take advantage of some things, because you might have some of these blowouts where the books hang a 5.5 touchdown thing and they may score 6 touchdowns in the first half depending upon their opponent. So like if you want to follow along on a lot of the college football stuff we do, make sure your book has team totals and ideally first quarter, first half, or full game team totals, and then the touchdowns market, because that's a market that's a little bit soft at times.
You and J Main 34 would be good friends. He says he likes to bet teams like Richmond, St. Louis, and the smaller market cards.
I mean, listen, Richmond in the added games category, because that's where the FCS is. I'm down for it. Like there is an FCS team playing an FBS team on Saturday. It is UNLV and Idaho State. UNLV is going to play 2 quarterbacks, which when you play 2 quarterbacks, that means you have no quarterbacks. So I'm excited to dive into the Idaho State Bengals and find out what their deal is, because sometimes there's some value in those FCS FBS games when nobody really wants to touch them.
Absolutely. You've talked about that for many years. Ever since I've known you, you always say that that's what you target in the first week or 2. Do you like to bet the big, or not even big, but do you like to bet the week 1 games earlier than you normally would because it's week 1?
No.
And it's like not get the line move?
Nope. So I am fine with letting everybody else move the market and get get what they perceive as the best number. I'd rather get all the information. Like there's still another week of practice or so left before week 1. Thursday, August 28th is still 10 days away. There could be injuries that affect sort of things. So I'd rather get the most information and pass up on something I would have liked because I don't have the best number, instead of playing something and then all of a sudden having an injury affect things. That's why I put a lot of my win totals out. There's like 1 or 2 I'm holding back to make sure there's no injuries, because it's kind of a thin line between whether or not I like something. But yeah, I'm one of those people that kind of waits. I mean, most people put out their win totals already. Like they put them out months ago, and I put mine out like a week, 2 weeks ago. I'm okay with that because I'd rather get the most information, because information's power. And now that we're going to see all these conferences releasing participation reports, which hopefully most of them are not like Belichick, who listed Tom Brady every week on the injury report, even though he wasn't healthy. Like, it's going to help. The participation reports are going to help, but I would rather have the most information instead of the best number.
Which teams would you tell people to stay away from because there's still information or injuries that we're concerned about?
So I was looking at Virginia's over. The Cavaliers have a very good quarterback that they got off the transfer portal. They have like 53 new players on the roster, like 35 of them are transfers, and there's a bunch of freshmen as well. But it's such a thin line in terms of the injuries. They just had an injury that they announced today. It was their linebacker, Cam Robinson. And he's an important piece to that defense. And so he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. So that's going to kind of change my handicapping with regards to the Cavaliers. Their number is right up against what I have as their predicted win total. So like I have to make sure that no quarterback injury happens or no wide receiver happens. They can't afford to lose Trell Harris, who's one of the more underrated wide receivers in the ACC. So like there's 1 or 2 teams and I'm kind of waiting to see what the injury situation is like before I fire on their number.
Mid-Major Matt is going to be helping out with the propqueen.com newsletter. He's going to be contributing. We're, like he said, figuring out a lot of the details to figuring out what exactly Matt's going to be putting out on the newsletter, because he does put a lot also on his socials. But college football, it will be covered in some capacity over there in the newsletter because we need to. I don't do college football, and I'm excited. I get very excited that real football is going to be on our screen. And I'm not talking preseason. I'm not talking this stupid training camp stuff. I want real hard-nosed, we need to win football on my screen coming up this weekend.
I mean, it's going to be fun. The first game's at noon. The only problem with this weekend is the Hawaii game's at 7:30. Usually it's at like midnight or 11 p.m. That's like the get back game when you lose, and then you want to, get your money back. But it's at 7:30. So that's the only disappointing thing about week 0.
Is week 0 better or worse this year than years past, do you think?
Well, you've got a conference game that's going to decide potentially the Big 12 when Kansas State and Iowa State play. Like, that's a huge game for the rest of the season. So, like, that's going to be awesome. Personally, I think week 0 is stupid. I think we should just, not have a week 0, but I'm not going to complain too much because college football is awesome.
What's stupider, week 0 or playing these Japan games for fake opening day?
I mean, I don't take anything seriously that baseball does because Rob Manfred's an idiot. So it's week 0 in college football. Like we just, let's just call it week 1, like move everything back. It's okay. The only thing stupider is when the NCAA makes a team vacate victories. Like that's just the stupidest thing. It's like, hey, this game never happened. You did not win that game. We're making you take away all those victories. Like, no, people were there, and unless it's, the other guy who was somewhat at a baseball game, or maybe he was somewhat at the college football game, but like week 0 just doesn't need to happen. Let's just call it week 1.
Alex says he was just at University of Hawaii football stadium. Vibes are high.
Listen, the very first win total I gave on this show was Hawaii over 5.5. So I'm in. I think they could go 7-0 at home this year. By the way, it pays to watch the show because I gave out the Middle Tennessee over weeks ago on this show. I posted on July 26th. So around there, it is now. I went from -140 to like -180. And in some places, the number is even flipped. So we beat the move. Now, that doesn't mean it's correct, but you got the better juice on Middle Tennessee over 4.5 now because people watch the show.
And Mid-Major Matt is on the show every Monday and Friday. He's more consistent than I am. So thank you, Mid-Major Matt, as always, for hopping on the show and updating the spreadsheet every day. I am so grateful for you. always, then we will have you in the newsletter so soon for college football. I can't wait. Matt, see you on Friday, and we'll talk some more week 0.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Sean, the reason that I say stupider is because there's nothing stupider than saying a word that doesn't exist. Duh. It was a total being stupider than stupid moment. Okay. Anyway, Mark, your jersey was at the game with your name and number on it. You weren't there, Mark. You weren't there. Sorry. You weren't at the game. Kelly's blowing up my group chat. She sent me she's like reading books in Ireland. She sent me, and my friend Chris, I found a short story about us. It's called The Three Drunkards. Thanks, Kel. And then she sent me another one in the chat and said, The Jew. And she sends me like the whole story. I'm not reading this. I'm not reading it, but she's like reading somewhere in Ireland. I don't know. She was in Galway. She's with her aunt. I'm very happy her and her Aunt Helen are hanging out. Aunt Helen will probably be over her like at the end of the trip, but they're going to be at the K-State Iowa State game in Ireland. So very excited for them. That'll be really cool. Okay. Let's talk some Major League Baseball. I've got hitters props. I've got matchups to watch. I've got pitcher props. You just saw all of Matt's props as well. There wasn't the greatest of cards. I'll tell you some pitcher props first. So starting with one of my favorites of the day, Logan Gilbert under 17.5 outs for the Seattle Mariners up against the Phillies in Philadelphia, 6:45 p.m. Eastern time. Gilbert's gone under in 6 of 7 road games this year, averaging 15.9 outs per start. He owns a 4.86 ERA on the road, just over 2 at home, so it's a big difference. And in Gilbert's lone start at Citizens Bank Park, Gilbert's allowed 4 runs, 7 hits through 5 innings. When he's on 4 days rest, Gilbert's gone under 17.5 outs in 5 of those 6 starts, owning a 4.38 ERA in those spots. Starters are also averaging about 16 outs a game against the Phillies this year anyway, so Gilbert under 17.5 outs. I know that Matt mentioned a trend about Kyle Freeland and his over 3.5 Ks hitting in 7 straight against the Dodgers. Yoshinobu Yamamoto's also done well in Colorado. So I'm liking his under 5.5 hits allowed at plus 100. Good plus money play. He's allowed 5 hits combined through 2 starts at Coors. He's on 6 days rest, and Yamamoto hasn't allowed over 5.5 hits on 6 days rest this year. He owns a 2.62 ERA in those spots. He's gone under 5.5 hits in 11 of 13 road starts this season, averaging about 3.5 hits per game on the road. So Yamamoto in altitude, we don't care. We going under 5.5 hits allowed. I hate this one the most because it hit in his last start, but I've got to mention it. Giants lefty Robbie Ray under 5.5 Ks. This is the back-to-back. Robbie Ray's last start was against the Padres. And in that same start, he did go under 5.5 Ks. That was on August 12th. So you know that I hate when this happens. But I'm mentioning it because lefties, 14 overs, 25 unders when facing the Padres this year, averaging 4 strikeouts a game. All eight lefty starters to go against the Padres since the All-Star break have gone under 5.5 Ks. Ray's seeing them again, so it makes me nervous, but I did want to mention it because the Padres just don't strike out, especially against lefties. Again, I'm scared, but under or nothing for me for Robbie Ray and his Ks tonight. Don't do matchups to watch. Yeah, I'll do matchups to watch. We've got a bunch of matchups to watch. A lot of really good matchups today in Major League Baseball, actually. I have to share the screen. This will be in the PropQueen.com newsletter a little after 6 o'clock. Okay. So, Jose Altuve. Okay, you can see that, right? I'll zoom in a little more. Jose Altuve hitting 385 with a home run against Jack Flaherty. On props.cash, you would see that Altuve over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBI. He's gone over this in 60% of his last 20 games on the road against right-handers and 7 of the last 10 on the road at night against righties. Mauricio Dubon hitting 455 with a double against Jack Flaherty. Tommy Pham hitting 364 with a double and a homer against Kevin Gossman. His over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBI. Pham cashed in 3 of his last 5 at home against righties and 11 of the last 20. IKF hitting 429 with a double, 2 homers against Kevin Gossman. His over a half a single, cashed in 60% of IKF's last 20 games at home against righties, 4 of his last 5. Ohtani crushes Kyle Freeland. I mean, it's only been 6 at-bats, but 4 of 6 with a double and 2 home runs. But if you look at Ohtani's over hits, runs, and RBI, 2.5 is kind of high. Over total bases is too juiced. Over a half an RBI is only minus 125, and it's cashed in all 5 of Ohtani's games at Coors since the start of last year, averaging 2 RBIs per game. Corey Seager's hitting 350 with 2 doubles against Michael Wacha, but his prices were a little too juiced. Ramon Laureano hitting 583 with 3 doubles and a homer against Robbie Ray. His over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBI cashed in 55% of home games against lefties. 70% of Laureano's last 20 have gone over. And Jose Ramirez, he is also crushing Zach Allen in 9 at-bats, hitting 556 with a double and a homer. His over half a run is plus 100, cashed in 7 of the last 10 on the road against righties at night. And the only bad matchup is really Fernando Tatis Jr., who is 0 for 8 with 3 Ks and 4 walks against Robbie Ray. His under 1.5 total bases is pretty juiced, cashed in 63% of games at home against lefties and 12 of the last 20. So those are the good and bad matchups to watch for tonight. Ohtani home run. Laureano 1.5 hits, runs, and RBI. I played that earlier. Skeens versus the Jays. What about it? Ohtani homer at Coors. Bregman hit. I did look at Alex Bregman today. I'm trying to remember what I saw on Alex Bregman. Jack Leiter, 3 walks. Okay. J-Rod also to get a hit. Yeah, J-Rod has a good matchup too. Some of J-Rod's props were very juiced though. Very juiced on J-Rod. 4.62 home run. Yeah. Tommy Pham, 2+ bases for Joseph Rodriguez. Riley Green, 2 at-bats, 2 home runs, and 7 RBI. So those are some props from the chat, if anyone wants that. I've got some other stuff going from props.cash. So Kerry Carpenter, for example, from props.cash. Like you guys, I know in the chat before, we're talking about players that were doing well. Oh, the Dolphins expected to sign Matthew Judon to a 1-year deal for Chuck. Okay, well, we'll see. I mean, as long as Tua is healthy, that's all that matters for Miami. Okay, Kerry Carpenter, over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs at plus 100. The Astros are at the Tigers. Carpenter has hit this over in 5 straight games. The Tigers have been on the road since August 11th. Carpenter was hitting the overs on his hits, runs, and RBI on the road, and he hits better at home. 305 batting average at home, 231 on the road. In the last month, Carpenter is hitting 306. He hit 333 last year against the Astros, and he's gone over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBI in 5 of his last 7, dating back to last year against Houston. So Kerry Carpenter has a good matchup with the Astros tonight. Geraldo Perdomo, over his hits, runs, and RBI. He's having a great year, and he's really caught fire. He's batting 347 in his last 2 weeks. At home against righties at night this year, Perdomo's hitting just over 2 hits, runs, and RBI. He's gone over this in 9 of his last 10, and he's hitting 324 at home. So Perdomo, over his hits, runs, and RBI, also intriguing. Miguel Garcia is like my underrated player of the day. Kansas City Royals player, his over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBI. They're hosting the Rangers. The Royals third baseman's averaging 2 hits, runs, and RBI at home at night against righties. And in the last month, Garcia's hitting 306. He's gone over this prop in 75% of his last 20 home games. Garcia's 2 for 3 with 2 singles and a ribby against Jack Leiter. I don't trust Jack Leiter on the road. So Garcia is an underrated play when at home. I'm looking at the chat. Skeens over 6.5 at plus 136. Not against the Jays, bro. Not against the Jays. We do not bet overs against Toronto. That team is one of the lowest strikeout rate teams in baseball. There is a reason that number on the under 6.5 is heavily juiced. I'm not saying Skeens can't do it. We're going to really test that today. We do not bet overs against Toronto. Nope. Nope. We do not ride it because his name is Paul Skeens. That is a hell no. Tua is trash. They can sign Watt and it won't matter. Any game under 50, Dolphins lose. He's a hit parlay goat. Perdomo was on my Freddie P parlay. I'm sorry. Hi, Earl. Welcome to the show. Skeens pitch limit 2, by the way. Tell them. Okay, now we're updated on the chat. Last one, another player that you might not know about, the Miami Marlins, Dane Myers. He has been terrible. So you could take his under hits, runs, and RBI. They're hosting the Cardinals today in Miami. Myers is hitting 168 at home this year, 118 in the last month. At home against the lefty, Myers is 0 for his last 10. Overall at home, Myers is averaging 0.8 hits, runs, and RBI, going under an 80% of home games. It's terrible. So look to the under for Dane Myers, who's at home against a lefty and struggles in that position. Just a post-Flaherty trade fade. That's 6 home games. Yeah. Okay, now that we're caught up on the chat again, I feel like there was some news. Cam Ward and Jeffrey Simmons exchanged shoves after Ward celebrates a touchdown in practice. Do not hurt Cam Ward. It's the only hope in Tennessee. Can't hurt Cam Ward like that. Anyone high on the Titans, by the way? I like Cam Ward. I really like that Cam Ward, just puts his head down and just, grinds. Told Shooter Sanders, I just like football. I don't know. I really liked Cam Ward. So I like the Titans to potentially go over their win total, but to win the division, absolutely not. Jaguars, I feel like this is the year 2 for trying to prove that Trevor Lawrence is your quarterback or not. If Trevor Lawrence doesn't go over his win total this year or even make them playoff contenders, you got to think about cutting ties with Trevor Lawrence at this rate. It's just not working. 4 wins? No, I think the Titans could do better. I really do. I think the Titans could go over their win total. I like Cam Ward. I really do. I think he has good receivers. So looking at the Titans depth chart, he's got Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, Van Jefferson. Don't sleep on those guys. They're speedsters. And Calvin Ridley and Tyler Lockett is not a bad duo. Tony Pollard in your backfield at least has experience. I don't trust Tajay Spears. He was in my Guillotine League and he sucked. As for the Titans' schedule, you get Denver to open it up, then the Rams, the Colts, Houston. Their schedule is not that easy. Houston, Seattle, Jacksonville, Cleveland. For a bad team, their schedule is pretty hard, Titans. Not a lot of gimmies in there unless Matt Stafford breaks his back. The Colts, you could potentially win. Arizona, you could potentially win. Vegas, you could potentially win. New England, you could potentially win. Indianapolis, again, you could potentially win. Seattle, maybe. Jacksonville, Cleveland. There are some wins. New Orleans. There are some wins in there. Just saying. I don't mind the over on the Tennessee Titans this season. I hate the Colts. 49ers over 3.5 division wins. I like the Niners. I've said that. I have friends who have the Niners to win the Super Bowl. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I do like the Niners to win the division. I wouldn't mind the Niners to win the NFC, but I do like the Niners a lot. I would go over their win total as well. They've got the easiest schedule freaking ever, and they've got a Super Bowl contending team. It's not even fair. Not even fair. Do I even have propaganda? And there were no fishy lines today. I was looking for it. Ooh, we do. Okay, a little bit of propaganda. A lot of home run props. God, I hate this. You guys know I hate home run props, so I'm going to give you guys propaganda, but I don't care about home run props. So just to play it, propaganda. Propaganda. So the most bet on props according to BetMGM, we've got Riley Green to hit a home run, Colson Montgomery to hit a home run, Ketel Marte to hit a home run, Brady Singer to have over 5.5 strikeouts, and Shohei over a home run. Oh, shocker. Plus 160 at Coors. That is so stupid. So stupid. As for Brady Singer, you guys know I could tell you strikeout props. Betting his under is very strange because the Angels strike out a lot. Or sorry, the over they have. Yeah, the Angels strike out a lot. The reason I didn't like it was because Brady Singer has gone like over in 2 of 4 against high K rate teams. So he only had 4 against Detroit, 4 against Boston, then 9 against the Yankees, and 9 against Colorado. But the ones that he had 9, he was home. And Brady Singer on the road only has had 4 against high K rate teams. So I would be weary of Brady Singer. I know the Angels strike out a lot, but I would definitely be weary of him on the road. So I would be fading the public there. Do you have the same animosity about betting anytime touchdowns? I do. I do, actually. I hate anytime touchdown props because the ones that you would obviously end up betting are always like minus 110 or like minus 105. Like Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, like are minus 200. Like, it's so stupid. Derrick Henry, too, was like minus 175 or something. Like, I don't want to bet that. Then you got the wide receivers. What? So you're going to go and bet, I'm like, Tyler Lockett and then Calvin Ridley's going to score? I hate it. I hate it. However, I'm going to ease the pain of anytime touchdown because if you followed along, Kelly and I have been doing the anytime hit survivor on Splash Sports, and we are going to be doing an anytime touchdown survivor pool for the NFL season. And that is fun to me. See, I don't like the bet of anytime touchdown, but I do like a survivor contest for anytime touchdown. Now you have to be strategic, and it doesn't matter the VIG because you could just choose whoever you feel is going to score a touchdown that day or that week. It's going to be fun. I really am excited for anytime touchdown contest on Splash Sports. Yes, Saquon was minus 200. Go deep to get a payout? Come on, get out of here. It's crazy. What you like? No, I can't talk about it. It makes me angry because I'm already in a million fantasy contests. So there's already a lot of deep receivers I've got to root for to score. Why am I going to go bet some receiver at 5-1 when I could just go bet a few props that I like more and try to win that way? I love the rushing plus receiving yards market in the NFL. I love pass catching running backs. So I love like receiving yards props for running backs. I love rushing yard props for quarterbacks. I don't mind doing some kind of like parlay to get a little bit more on the anytime touchdown. Like a 2-leg parlay for it. So you could get a little bit more of a win, but I don't really bet the anytime touchdown market. I bet so many other fun markets that you can take advantage of in the NFL. But yes, the touchdown splash survivor will be coming out when we get ready for week 1 of the NFL season. And week 2 of the NFL season is my birthday, guys. So everybody watch out. If they give me a touchdown, no sweat bet, then yeah, but too much work to miss by 1. See? Telling you, I don't like it. It's like the home run prop. It's really hard to figure out, and it's really hard to select because your running backs don't have good numbers. You only have to really have receivers. The only time that I will tell you I don't mind it is tight ends because there are certain teams that are terrible against the slot. So you'll see a lot of different times where there's really good numbers on tight ends. That's when you could take advantage. I typically end up going on the receiving yards route or receptions route for those guys. But if there are teams that are really bad against tight ends, that's when you could definitely get some good numbers. Aruba's not till November, Sean. That's after baseball season. I go to Aruba after baseball, like around the World Series. That's when I go to Aruba, not anytime soon. I wish, though. I really need it. Anyway, let's try to get some winners. So, Royal Lock. It's 1. Royal Lock. Royal Lock of the day. I only like one thing enough to tell you that it is my best bet, and it is Seattle's righty Logan Gilbert to go under 17.5 outs. That game starting in about 50 minutes. Gilbert's gone under in 6 of 7 road games this year, averaging just under 16 outs per start. He owns a 4.86 ERA on the road. That's like much higher than at home. He's got just over a 2 ERA at home. In his lone start, Gilbert at Citizens Bank Park, he only went 5 innings. He allowed 4 runs on 7 hits. On 4 days rest, Gilbert's gone under 17.5 outs in 5 of those 6 starts, owning a 4.38 ERA. And starters are also averaging just 16 outs per game against the Phillies this season. So we are going with the under 17.5 outs for Seattle's righty, Logan Gilbert, as the royal lock of the day. The royal lock is plus 108 on FanDuel. Great. Happy for you. That's awesome. I did bet it actually at plus 108. I was at minus 110 this morning. So that's my royal lock. It's probably not great that the juice is moving against me, but guess what? I don't care. I like it. I like it a lot. Sometimes it doesn't always mean anything. And if the line moved against me, that stinks. But anyway, there was no strikeout prop that I really liked today, to be honest with you. I wish Robbie Ray didn't just face the Padres, because then I would have really liked that. And Yamamoto under hits, it's a close second to Gilbert, but I'm only scared because it's hit so much. No Skeens under, it's too juiced. Too juiced. But if you want to take the Pirates team total under, go for it. Pirates team total under. They never score with Skeens on the mound every freaking time. Let me see if I have the exact numbers on that. I don't know if they gave it to me or not, but let's see if MLB gave me the numbers on Paul Skeens' run support, which is bad. Paul Skeens has thrown 27.2 consecutive scoreless innings at PNC Park, dating back to an unearned run he allowed on June 8th. The Blue Jays offense, MLB low, 17.4 K percentage this year. Let's see. Nope. I would have to ask MLB. But anyway, they don't score the Pirates when Skeens is on the mound. Freeland Ks is what Joe Dollar likes. The over 3.5 Ks in plus money since it's hit in 7 straight. I got to cut that clip in time for the game, so mid-major Matt gets credit for that. Under 2.5. Whew, that's low. Plus 140. It's really low. Really low. Or you could go with Matt's approach, which was Kevin Gossman's under 2.5 earned runs allowed. So you're kind of cutting it in half. Like, it's almost the first 5 under. It was like minus 145 when Matt bet it. So you could look at it that way. Tomorrow, we'll be back, and Coach is going to be joining the show to talk WNBA props. This week on Wednesday, we're going to have a big reunion from Sports Grid with me and Ben Stevens. We're going to talk college football. He ended up leaving Sports Grid. Now he's part of the VSiN fam, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. Coach is going to be back again on Thursday, mid-major man on Friday, so we are fully loaded with WNBA, college football, Major League Baseball, and shortly, we'll be talking some NFL. I could try to get Stormy. I'll reach out to Stormy. I'm going to be on Money Moves next Friday, so I could see if she is there, and we could talk a little college football as well. We could go through the day of her life, too. Like, Stormy's life gets crazy when we get to college football season, and she's always on the road, and she does the VSiN show, so she's insane. Thank you, Casper93. I appreciate you. Wine night, as I am house sitting my parents' house, taking care of the dogs. And I'm just chilling here by myself, watching sports at night. I have a gorgeous backyard in the suburbs. If you guys can, please subscribe to the YouTube page. Go like Prop Queen Sports on YouTube. Subscribe, all of the above. The more views and the more subscribers I get, the more money I can make, so then I could get a house in the backyard for Marley and not have to live in this stupid city. I hate the city. So I want to move out. But I need a husband and I need a house. And that requires some of you guys to help me out. I know, Stormy hasn't been on since hockey. We'll try. I'll ask her. Have a great night, everybody. Good luck with those bets, and I will see you all tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Time here on the Prop Queen Pod.